What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor, FightfulMMA.com, where you can get all of your MMA news. And we have some big news coming out of the UFC for January 26th. That weekend was set to be a huge one. On the pro wrestling side, you have NXT TakeOver Phoenix and the Royal Rumble. Over in Bellator, you have a couple of big shows set for that weekend. And then in the UFC, you had UFC 233 scheduled. Inexplicably, the UFC moved the Cejudo Dillashaw fight a week ahead to debut on ESPN, and unable to find a main event for UFC 233, the show is off. Ben Askren has said that he was willing to step up and fight for an interim title to quote-unquote save the day. Apparently, they are moving his fight with Robbie Lawler to March, although Ben Askren said he'd be willing to fight in Brooklyn on that ESPN show and then fight in March as well. Brett Okamoto of ESPN first reported the news that UFC 233 would no longer be happening. Ariel Helwani of ESPN reported that the UFC was looking to reschedule several fights. It was going to air opposite of Bellator 214, which was going to feature Bader and Fedor Emelianenko. And UFC still plans on holding 13 pay-per-views in 2019. Other fighters that were expected to compete on the card: John Lineker, Paul Felder, James Vick, Yana Kunitskaya, Marion Renault, Cynthia Calvillo, Joseph Benavidez. So now that UFC Brooklyn card is really going to take the center stage, at least for the UFC in January. Bellator going to take center stage that weekend with Bader and Fedor. We do have NXT TakeOver Phoenix. That would have been a tough battle for Fightful. We would have had 3 shows going simultaneously. I would have done the post show for NXT TakeOver, finished it in about a half an hour, got on the media call, tried to watch the end of both of those MMA pay-per-views, and then done a post show for those as well. But the weekend becomes a little more less crowded, rather. You have easier decisions to make now. And the UFC, which had a really good-looking UFC 233 just a few weeks ago, now has no UFC 233. Leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. We're out.